Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. This is Max Moving Training Podcast, and today we're going to have Yuri Margolin on the podcast today from Moving Sales Professional, the owner over there who's killing it in moving sales bookings. Okay, so with that being said, let's say that, obviously I have my own sales team, which obviously we're working together now. So,
Yes, yes.
but
And
if
it's a pleasure. It's early goings, but I like the start so far.
Yes, yes, definitely. But let's say that another moving owner who hasn't had the honor of working with you yet, and having their own sales team, or maybe it's just them as an owner, they're a smaller business.
Mhm.
What do you feel is valuable, like to help maybe give them a little leg up in their sales process? Like,
I mean, it's something that's been mentioned on other recent podcasts. But I think an important part would be definitely it's about when is no and no. One of the problems that constantly happens, especially generally across the board, is that a lot of these people that end up in sales positions for moving companies, they're not really salespeople per se. They might be great customer service people, but they don't have the sales techniques. They don't have the real training. Like for me, coming back from a call center background, which is that's my background, uh, we did a lot of objections. We did a lot of things where we needed to build a case for giving. Why should somebody give me $10,000, for charity, for Sierra Club, for example, right? Why would they why would they want to give me that kind of money, right? So that's kind of why should they choose your company versus somebody else? Why should they go with your company despite the fact that you charge more than the competition? I mean, it's you got two different types of sales basically when it comes to moving. You got one sale where you're talking about the quality of the company, the professionalism, the years in business, the history, the reviews, right? That's generally the sale that you're talking about that charges more money, right? The other type of sale you're talking about, first of all, you never want to use the word cheap. So if any of your salespeople are using the words cheap to book the jobs, tell them to strike that from their conversation because words cheap attract cheap customers, and cheap
mm-hmm.
customers are a pain in the ass. So for you guys, for us, it's those are the ones that are going to be when you get somebody whose job is, let's say, a long distance job. Let's say their stuff weighs more, it takes up a lot more space, and you're calling them to tell them, and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna have to tell them now that their move is going to be $2,000-3,000 more because it's bigger. So you're all prep. You have your pre-inventory list that you did before the move. You have your inventory list, bill of lading on the day of the move. You put the two together. You call and you say, okay, so your initial inventory was 100 items. Your actual inventory is 300 items. Your actual cost is $3,000 more. Usually those people go, okay, I knew I had more stuff, no problem. Go ahead and charge it, right? Versus a call that's $300, and you're like, and they're calling you like, I just got a quote. I just got the numbers. They're trying to charge me 350. Yeah, well, you had glass. They had to wrap that stuff. You didn't tell me about that. Yes, I did. It's in your contract too. So they're going to be fighting you over $50, $20 more than somebody that you just told that their move is going to cost two, three, $4,000 more.
Mm-hmm. Definitely
That's
priority.
the irony, and that's the reality of the situation. So yeah, stay away from cheap customers. You can use the words less expensive. Sure, that works, but don't use the words cheap. Stay away from that
Yeah,
because
definitely.
they hear cheap, it's like cheap. That's for me.
I
I
think
want
what
cheap.
I think when I first started out, that was kind of like how my motto was when 9 years ago when I first started out, where it was just like, hey, you know what, we want to be the least expensive. Like we were actually competing to be the least expensive on like moving help or whatever the case is, because we wanted to, I guess, have that mindset of helping people, but it came to a cost. It came to, hey, the move is only going to be $350 as a base price starting out, and if that was the ending cost of the job and a sofa got scratched up or damaged and the sofa cost $700, it was just like, hey, the customer wanted full value protection off of that sofa. And you're just like, well, that's the guy's pay. They worked 2 hours, they moved 20 items. Like, Like, do we not just pay them because you want full compensation? And these customers don't. Not to say, there are some good customers out there, but most of these customers do not care about that. They really just care about their belongings, and that's respectable. But with that being said, in order for us to survive as a business, we also need to charge what we need to charge to cover our overhead and cover their belongings as well.
Right. And that's another thing that's frankly that should be done on every call. So it's like, look, our goal, because unlike other places, we still participate in every part of the move, really, and we're still communicating. Lowballing is not an option. So we want to make sure we talk through everything, whether it's extra cost of packing. If you see glass, you got to at least mention it, so that they never say, "Oh, you never told me about it." Yes, I did. And the calls are being recorded.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're there to cover realistically. That's what I teach my people. Cover your butt. We want to disclose the information because
Gotcha.
if we don't disclose information, we're going to have to deal with the after effect of it later. Is it worth it? No. And
So,
realistically, between you and me, for those of you guys, I understand you all need business. You want business, I want business. We all want business. We all want money. We all got bills to pay. Yeah. But realistically, it's okay to not take on certain jobs. It's okay because realistically, if you haven't even done the inventory yet, if you haven't even really done even quoted yet, and you're already getting screamed at, think what's going to happen on the day of the move.
right.
If God forbid that move goes over by 15 minutes, or God forbid they scratch something, it's not worth it. Some of those people, it's okay to let them go.
Yep.
There are moves, there are people that you just don't, it's just not worth dealing with. It really
Definitely.
isn't. So it's like it's okay. Yes, you want jobs, I get it. But some people, it's not worth the job. It's not worth the extra 100, 200, $300 you're going to make. You want to think long term. You want to think growing your business. You want to think of reviews. You want to think of things that are make your company a brand. And realistically, that's what we are. We are a brand. And we want to work with companies that want their companies to be a brand.
Okay.
You don't
No,
want
I
you don't
definitely.
want a client that's gonna change the name of their company three different times because they want to stick to doing things the same way every time. That's frankly is the wrong way because it's a way of getting complaints. It's a way of getting mad customers. You want to care about your customer because your customer is what's going to take you to the top if you do it right. You
Okay.
can't think, oh, it's just one bad review. It's not just one bad review because one bad review, he's going to tell all his friends. So those friends are not going to move with you. Those friends will tell their friends. They're not going to move with you. So you're going to end up losing a lot more business in the long run than you would if you book that. If you just say, okay, no problem. That's our pricing. I'm sorry. I can knock off extra $50 for you. Sorry. Or or the thing in back of me, oh, you're yelling at me. We didn't do anything yet. Oh yeah, no problem, ma'am. Let me look at my calendar. I am so sorry. We're sold out for that day. In fact, that whole week is full. I am so sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'd love to do something for you, but I just can't.
No, that makes absolute sense.
That one customer that's going to write a 2-page review and post it on every single review imaginable site, is that worth it? Hell no. You're going to lose a lot more than whatever you charge that customer. You got to think long term. You
Hmm.
can't think, oh, I'm going to make $200 today. What are you going to lose down the road?
Okay. So two questions. So starting with the first question, what is your take on the movers that are owners that are, kind of quoting within 2 minutes, giving a customer a quick quote, whether they're on the truck and they're just like, hey, oh, you got a two-bedroom? Oh, yeah, we'll send you two guys, 3 hour minimum. Here's the price. Like, what is your
I
take
mean,
on
you're always gonna have those. There's no way around it. And especially, look, that's why we exist. And one other thing is that we let you guys focus on what you do best. Focus on moving, focus on growing your business. Focus on those things. Let us handle the sales. Let us make sure that we get accurate quotes out. Once again, a quick quote, that's all good and great, but you're going to have to, but basically, when you do a quick quote, more than either they book with you right away, which is going to be a problem later when the reality sets in
Hmm.
and you're actually there physically, or you're going to have another call later where you're going to have to do the inventory anyway. I mean, being still on the truck while trying to book a job is not the best case scenario anyway. Focus on your driving. Let the sales team do the things for you. That's why we exist. We're here to do the job for you. We're here to provide an accurate quote. We're here to do the virtual estimate. We're here to set up at home for you if needed. We do all of that stuff. Once again, accuracy is our key because we don't want to deal with a mad customer that's going to call later and say, "Hey, Yuri, you quoted me 5 hours. It's been 10 and they're still working." I don't want that call. I
Hmm.
want it done right the first time or as close as it can be. Like for us, realistically, if you're ever going to have a situation where the move takes that much longer, it's not because we misquoted. It's because we were not provided full information. Because we certainly dig for it.
Gotcha, gotcha. So now I know you mentioned CMAT earlier, which is again for everybody, call, message, email, and text. What how many times should one do that if the customer didn't book on the first initial call?
So first of all, you continue calling until the moving date passes, or the customer gives you a hard no. Okay. So there's a difference between a hard no and soft no. When somebody says, "I'm already booked," that's not a hard no. You need to ask follow-up questions because that could be a difference between you booking a job. Basically, when somebody says already booked, that could mean a variety of things. It could mean I just got 3 quotes. I decided to go with one of them, but I haven't called the company yet. And I haven't done the inventory. I haven't done any of that. All I looked at the numbers on a piece of paper or an email,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
It could mean I talked to the guy, but I haven't, and I decided on him, but I haven't finalized yet. Or maybe I did finalize, but then I got 2 more quotes, and now I'm a little anxious because the numbers that I got from other places are completely different from what I'm just booking for. So now maybe I'm a little worried. Or maybe I did it quick because it was the first call I got, and now I'm worried because I really didn't do the research. But the thing is that if you don't ask these additional questions, you will never know any of this. And asking those questions can be a difference of potentially extra 10 jobs plus a month. So that's 120 jobs a year. That's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of money that's being left on the table.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. Okay, all right. And what about the unreachables? What's your thoughts there?
So yeah, so get it. Sorry, I got a little off track with whatever, but between unreachables and everything else. So first of all, don't send them the same email every time. Don't send them the same text message every time. Get creative. Second of all, if it's unreachable that you've tried many, many times and you're just not reaching, just email every time, change your pattern of when you call them. If you normally call these people at 9 in the morning, call them at 12. Call them at 2. Switch around, like go through your leads. You have to, when you're doing your follow-ups, you need to strategically plan that stuff. It's not just, oh, okay, I'm just going to go through my list. Okay. Like make break your list of follow-ups into groups, right? Let's say you call one group at 9, one group at 12, the other group at 2, for example, right? Then flip them because maybe you're just getting them just at that time when they're never available, right? And if you switch the time, maybe you'll get them. Maybe it's a different time. Maybe you're not getting them during the week. Maybe you'll get them during the weekend if you're working on the weekend, right? We work 7 days a week. So, but yeah, I mean, you got to get creative with that stuff. Send a creative email. Like I have this email that I personally designed that I send out for our companies here that I like. That basically it's a checklist of the things that they should have for a move that I put together myself. Right? It's kind of it's a short. I mean, there's a lot of checklists like that out there that are probably similar, but it's something I put together, and it's kind of has this. Oh, and by the way, if you do still need a moving company, we'd love to help you. Please call us. So it's kind of in and base. I mean, for that matter, every time you get that customer on the phone, even if you talk to them 5 times, there needs to be an ask involved. Now, it can be a soft ask. It can be in the matter of a joke. Oh, and those spaces are filling up. You ready? What do you think? What do you think? You want to set things up? It can be like that. It doesn't have to be like you have to book with me today. No, it doesn't have to be at that point. Once you're following up, once you're already done the process, done the inventory. The other thing too is that one of the big things, and I get on my salespeople about that all the time because that's a problem all across the board for all salespeople, is that you got to get your sales team to leave notes. You got to leave your sales team to log the calls if you got smart moving, for example. And we use any CRM, by the way. But yeah, you want to do all of that stuff. You want to make sure you follow that stuff up. I mean, if you're the only salesperson in the office, you know what you're doing. You know who you're talking to. So maybe that's not as important. But that's once again, make sure your moving company owner is okay with that.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say notes is important either way. Like, obviously, if you're the only person in the office, you're getting caught up in the day to day anyways. So let's say you got 25 leads or more that you're working as an owner or whatever the case is, and Sue is one of your customers who said, hey, I'm waiting on my closing, or I'm waiting on a response from my husband, or whatever the case may be, and you didn't make any notes. But hey, she's only one of 24, 25, 50 customers that you're talking to. And now you got to kind of recall that conversation on that next call. And that's just a lot because, hey, you still have your everyday life. You got to manage the movers. You got to manage everything going on. And if you can just piggyback off where you left off, those customers feel that you're listening to them. And that's, I feel, is key.
Yeah, that's absolutely important. That's why our focus, we have people that are assigned to specific contracts. We don't have teams. So you're not going to have us with us if you're using our company, if you're using moving sales professionals, you're not going to be in the position where it's not going to be Comcast, Verizon style of call center, where you're talking to John today, you're talking to George tomorrow, Alice the day after that, and it's a different person every time. No, you're going to have the same person that's going to be familiar with your move, that's going to make the connection with the customer. And, at the most, you may talk to maybe one other person that's that person's backup that's covering them on their day off. You shouldn't
Gotcha.
be like our goal is individual, like I said, they should feel the same attraction at the same follow up, the same attention that they all pretty much need and want.
Oh, now don't tempt everybody out there, Yuri, for you have to start hiring some more staff.
I'm okay with that. We're constantly hiring, and we only hire professional salespeople. And realistically, guys, I don't hire at this point. I do not hire people that used to work for other moving companies. Unfortunately,
Okay.
they come with bad habits, and we don't like those. What we do here is a lot more thorough. And lowballing it just doesn't work because we continue talking. If we quote things that way, they will come flying in our face. So that's something we want to avoid.
Gotcha. Okay. So a lot of information. Definitely thank you for that, Yuri. Did you want to leave anything for any of these movers out here? Calling card, anything, any last things?
I mean, right now we have our podcast that's running. So please like us and subscribe. I will put the link, I'm sure, at the bottom of this episode here for our podcast, and we'll also have a link to our Calendly link if you want to schedule a consultation with me. We can certainly discuss what we can do for your company. But once again, thank you very much for having me on, Dwight. We really appreciate that. That's great.
All right, awesome, everybody. So definitely like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for future episodes. It's been an amazing episode with just speaking with Yuri today and knowing more about the sales process, as he's an expert in this area for many years. So it's definitely going to be a pleasure, definitely working with his team as well, from my moving company in general. Yeah, and Yuri, anything before I cut out?
Well, the world moves on its own, so let the professional move yours.
Definitely. All right, everybody, y'all take care.
Thank you.